My name is Patricia. A lot of people introduced themselves earlier, so I guess I might as well do the same. I'm a student here at high school. I'm in the 3rd class, so the first class of the IB diploma program, and yes, today I'm going to be talking about change. So, I feel like this sentence, the only thing constant is change. I feel like everyone here has heard it at some point in their lives, and I'm going to make the bold assumption to say that everyone here has experienced this factor. But what exactly is change? Well, the dictionary isn't very decisive on that. We have 4 definitions of change. 2 of them state change to be a verb, to make something or someone different, to alter or to modify, or to replace something with something else, especially something that is of the same kind but newer or better. As a noun, it means either the act or process through which something becomes different, or coins as opposed to banknotes. Now, which one of these definitions is relevant to our subject? I'm going to go ahead and eliminate the last one, because, yes. I'm also going to eliminate the second one from the verb category, because, well, we all know that change in our lives isn't always positive. So now the question remains, is change a noun or a verb? I'm going to have to say both. So, why does change happen? There's a lot of underlying research behind this question, but I feel like it can be summarized in one very simple sentence. Change is a response to change. I know how that sounds. Yes, it is a philosophical fallacy, but bear with me here for a moment. Change? What again? Oh my God. That's, wow, we're back. So change as... I think my button is problematic. I have a... We are the problem. It's me. Hi. Okay, so... Anyway, I'm just going to pretend this is working. So, change as the noun change as the noun, so the act or process of something becoming different, appears as a result to change, the verb, to something being made different. It sounds a bit convoluted, I know, but the distinction is important for what comes next. So, you might be wondering why I'm talking about this. This is very hard to do with 2 hands, but I'll try. I can't grow a 3rd hand like that, so I'm just going to have to make do. If you remember correctly, if I remember correctly, my topic is how society is changing and why that's a good thing. Now, what I've been saying so far might seem like it has nothing to do with society, but I promise I'm getting there. So, what is society? The dictionary defines society as the aggregate of people living in a more or less organized community. So society would be a neighborhood, a town, a country, a continent, maybe even a planet, although I might be getting a bit out of hand with that last one. Nevertheless, we live in a society. Ah yes, we live in a society. And like everything else on this planet, society is subject to change, because we live in it, and we're subject to change. So fun, right? And how do we call this change? Societal change. I know this presentation is just full of really hard definitions, but we'll get there, I promise. So, what influences societal change? The main factor that influences societal change, in my opinion, has to be social movements. This is a lot better coordinated when I have both my hands free. Don't worry about it. So, the main causes of social movements have to be fights of a sort. So, the social rights movements, like the LGBTQ+ rights, POC rights, women's rights, children's rights, animal rights, and ecological awareness, for example, these are all fights that we, as a society, partake in. I found a way to click it. And these fights prompt societal change. If we find a way to engulf these fights into our society, if we find a way to make the tenets of these fights part of society, that's when societal change happens. If the fights are lost, on the other hand, the fights become forgotten to history, at least for a while. See, if it was worth fighting for once, then we have to trust that it will be worth fighting for again. The next factor that prompts societal change has to be progress. So whether that's technological progress, medical progress, scientific progress, the list goes on for what seems like forever. Prime examples of this might be when Copernicus established that the Earth moves around the sun and not the other way around. I mean, our entire worldview changed back then. Or when the cell phone became mainstream. I mean, our day-to-day routines have never been the same since then. And even in the last few years, with the discovery and the production of COVID medication, our lives have become longer and safer in a way. Nevertheless, progress prompts societal change. I'm doing fine. This is fine. This is all change, and like I'm saying, change is positive. Society is changing. It always has been. What's different now? The change itself. It's sped up. We rush through our day-to-day lives. We multitask. We do everything faster and faster and faster because that's what we're taught is right. Because we have to do everything. We have to do it all right now. That's what we're doing. And because of that, the speed of change has also been altered. It's almost like God is watching Channel Earth on a 2.0 speed. We have a shorter attention span because of it. I was going to say that you're probably not listening to me, but I feel like the circumstances, I feel like I have everyone's attention right now. That's okay. Either way, I'm not here to lecture you about doom scrolling or the negative implications of dopamine deficiencies on your attention span. Now, I am here to talk about change and why it's a good thing. That's what I've been doing, for sure. So is the speed of change a bad thing? No. You see, change is inevitable. It's going to happen anyway, and we can't really escape from it. I mean, you have to either get with it or get out of the way. And it's important to us on every single level. I mean, change causes progress, and it's caused by progress. It's a cycle. It's really cool. And it helps us to learn. It helps us to grow as individuals. We can try new things because of it. We can learn from the past and take action in the future. And we can see what's important to us and eliminate the things that aren't, because that's change. Woo! Societal change is no different. See, we all live together on this rock floating in space that we so creatively called Earth, because it's made out of Earth. And because of that, we're all subject to societal change. We're all part of society. We live in it. We live in a society. And some people may try to run from that fact, which is impossible. I mean, I have no idea what you would have to do to completely escape from society. Maybe you could move to Alaska, but even then I feel like you still meet people. And some people try to deny change, or to say that in their days it was better. I'm thinking of the older generation right now. But one thing they keep forgetting is that in their times, there was an older generation too, who also claimed that it was better in their times. And that older generation had its own older generation. And this vicious cycle goes on and on and on for what feels like forever. I mean, are we going to do the same things to our kids? Really? Now, are there negative aspects of change? Yes. There's a flip side to everything. I mean, there's literally nothing in this world that doesn't come with a negative aspect. There could be a negative change in the case of a switch in governmental power from a democratic republic to a totalitarian regime. But the thing is, and this is the important part, we as people, we have this thing inside us. We call it a moral compass. We call it a conscience. It's this little voice inside our heads that tells us what's right or wrong. I mean, it's not objectively correct, but it's what we think is correct. And as long as we have that voice inside of us, we are going to fight for what we think is right. For if it was worth fighting for once, it will be worth fighting for again. I'm just going to drop these. Now I'd like to close with an anecdote. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change, but the realist adjusts the sails. The world is your boat. The wind is change. Sometimes the winds change. They always do eventually. But the important thing is to not panic. I know we were talking about panicking earlier, but this is a different situation. You just have to get on your mast, get up your ass, and adjust the sails. It's okay. You're going to be fine. You got this. Thank you for your attention.